Last Friday, Palantir soared up to more than 25%. It did close for the first time ever since it did IPO a few months ago at the record price of 32.58. Now, keep in mind that I'm talking about an all-time closing high here because we saw back in November that it did hit an intraday high of 33.15 cents. And the reason behind that is that we did have some huge news coming from Palantir itself ahead of demo day, which is scheduled for January 26th. So what happened actually? What concretely happened and made Palantir go off to the roof? Well, basically, they publish on the website that they've been making more than 150,000 upgrades on their platform Apollo just for the last Q4 of 2020. This is huge news because especially given the fact that the contracts are being built within the commercial side, because I think the contracts are pretty much fixed with the government clients, but for the commercial clients, this is something huge for Palantir because having 150,000 upgrades, if since I've been working on technology space before, they might have a cost associated with upgrades. In that case, having more than 150,000 of those upgrades on Q4 only, it might end up driving the overall turnover for 2020 way above expected. Now, keep in mind that analysts and market analysts are expecting a turnover, so total number of sales around $1.07 billion for 2020 itself. So if Palantir is charging an additional cost for those upgrades, that may potentially drive that number way upper than what market analysts were expecting. So that is basically what drove the sentiment on bullish investors higher, and then obviously we had a huge volume, which led to that 25% surge on Palantir stock price last Friday. Now, this is how I'm going to trade Palantir next week. Now, I did purchase a couple of thousand of shares of that stock pre-IPO, and I have a core base position that I'm not gonna touch just because I'm keeping that for an investment purpose. So I'm not gonna trade that core position just because I really believe in Palantir growing up and being a huge tech giant, such as maybe a Tesla or even an Amazon. Not in short term obviously, but in a 5, 10, 20, 35 years coming. But I did take some profits on a position that I initiated when it pulled back a couple of weeks ago around 23.86, and then since it did hit a all-time closing highs, right before, maybe a few minutes before closing on Friday, I did sell that position in order to take some profits. But coming into this new week, I really think that the sentiment is really bullish because the fact that we had that huge news coming from Palantir, it means that and ahead of demo day, I'm pretty sure that huge mutual fund, huge institutional, and also resale like you and me are getting much more attention and credit to this to that company itself. And I think coming into this week, obviously ahead of demo day, there will be maybe more room to go in order to touch that 33.50 all-time high that we touched previous weeks or previous months ago. So I do believe there is a room to go here, but you never know what the market is going to be because at the end of the day, the market is going to do what the market does better. And I'm not giving this as an investment professional, guys, because obviously I'm not a professional. I'm just sharing with you guys what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take a little position, again, back early before demo day, because I think demo day is going to really be a huge driver on how the market overall, because Palantir has been a secretive company for almost 15 years. So many investors don't really know how the platforms and how the systems do operate. We know that it's a data analytics huge platform. But the fact that they're going to showcase how they're performing, their work on a real case within the commercial space, I think is going to give much more insights and much more transparency to how they work overall. So after demo day, I really think that there will be potentially more room to grow, on the share price. On an uptrend, it's on and will continue, but be also prepared that it may not follow that trend, because keep in mind that even though trend tend to repeat themselves. They don't necessarily have to. So we might as well have a pullback, and then maybe on the 28 or 29, even 27.70, you know, and then continue to run again maybe after Q4 earnings are being released a couple of weeks from now. So that's how I'm going to trade the stock of Palantir next week. You know, again, I'm not giving this as a investment professional. I'm just sharing what I'm going to do. So it's your money. You do whatever you want with it. But keep in mind that we have those 3 catalysts coming up this week for Palantir.